Welcome to this amazing edifice. I love to bring my students here. I teach a lot of museum studies classes and I ask them what they think about this. Like, what are they looking at? What are we looking at? I'm asking you now. It's a temple to the past. That's right. All right, so the Field Museum was originally located in what is now the Museum of Science and Industry down on the south side, if you've been down there, which is where the original World's Fair, the Columbian Exposition, was from 1893, all located down there. Now, probably most of you, how many of you have read Devil in the White City? So that was my introduction to the World's Fair. But I've learned a lot more about it since, because I have a good friend, Rebecca Graff, who teaches up at Lake Forest, who wrote her dissertation. She excavated on the World's Fair site, the Women's Pavilion, and she's written an excellent book on it if you're at all interested. And maybe next time ASOR is here, we could do the tour down there and we could get Rebecca to do it because it's fabulous. Anyway, so that's the original site for the exposition, which is where the Field Museum was. And you'll remember from the White City book, or from maybe what you know, everything that was built to disintegrate, right? Not to last. So the only thing that remains there still is the Museum of Science and Industry. But the field had so much material, it outgrew that space. And so this was built, and I'm checking my notes to get the dates. I'm sorry that I don't know all this off the top of my head. It was finished in 1921. That's when it moved from its Jackson Park location. So this whole landscape was designed by Burnham and Frederick Law Olmsted, famous architect, landscape architect. And this was funded by Marshall Field. Who was Marshall Field? Department store, right? Exactly. So if you go to Macy's at the corner of State and what is it? Adams? No, not Adams. Lake's a bit far, but in that area, if you go in and you go into the bag section and you look up, you will see the Tiffany mosaic. But if you go up to the 7th floor, you can see in women's lingerie, you can see it even closer. So that's my recommendation for folks. All right, so here we are at the Field Museum, and it's part of the museum campus, which includes the Shed Aquarium and the Adler Planetarium. And this was, as I said, funded by Marshall Fields, and it took almost 6 years to complete, and it cost approximately $7 million in the 1920s. So its exhibition space occupies over 480,000 square feet. Stanley Hall, I should say that your ASOR badge gets you in free to the Field Museum, and I highly recommend the First Kings exhibit, which is fabulous. Really well done. And there are also great dinosaurs in here. So you can see we have some lovely inspiration from Athens, the Erechtheion. We have a caryatid porch, classical columns. The museum in 2022, had over 1 million visitors, and it ranks 11th in the country for museums visited. And the highlights are Sue, the T-Rex, the Evolving Planet, and the newly designed First Nations is amazing. Our Native Truths, Our Voice, Our Stories. So the ASOR connection to the Field Museum is that the president and the CEO is a Near Eastern archaeologist who studied lithics at Wadi Ziklag. So Julian Siggers is the president and CEO of the Field Museum. So that's our connection, our close connection. Julian and I shared an office as graduate students at the University of Toronto. So this is our connection.